In order to stage the illusion of being assaulted, the woman tied bandages tightly around her calves, soaked the bottom of her nightgown in red wine, and smeared it along the inside of her thighs to mimic the marks of violence. She then hurled herself against the bathroom glass so the surveillance cameras in the villa would capture her looking like a victim. The reason she went to such elaborate lengths was because she had personally witnessed her husband flirting shamelessly with a younger, seductive woman right in front of her. Determined to make her husband realize the seriousness of his betrayal, Amy decided to teach him a lesson he would never forget. She collected urine samples from a pregnant neighbor and forged medical records showing that she herself was pregnant. She also fabricated a financial crisis, then tricked her husband into signing an insurance policy with a dramatically increased payout. On their second wedding anniversary, Amy put on gloves and carefully staged a murder scene. She intentionally left suspicious traces everywhere, then cut herself to bleed, so much that it was 10 times heavier than a normal period. She splattered the blood across the cabinets, poured the rest onto the floor, and smeared it around with her hands to look like she had been dragged away. But even that wasn't enough. Amy partially cleaned the scene, making sure not to erase everything. She dipped an iron bar in blood, shoved it into the dusty fireplace, and lit the flames to create the illusion of destroying a weapon. After that, she burned the diary she had been writing for years, but not completely. She deliberately left fragments behind for the police to find, filled with incriminating details. Once everything was in place, Amy drove off in her husband's newly purchased unregistered car and vanished without a trace. Hours later, her husband Nick came home to find the coffee table shattered and signs of a struggle throughout the house. He immediately called the police. Detective Boney quickly discovered blood traces in the cabinets and learned that Amy wasn't just a Harvard literature graduate. She had also been a psychology lecturer at Yale. To Boney's surprise, Amy was in fact the very author she had admired for years. Nick was promptly taken in for questioning. Police collected his fingerprints and tested for traces of blood. Investigators also began tracking Amy's phone and credit card activity. When pressed, Nick admitted that they had only moved back from New York a little over a year ago and that Amy had no friends in his hometown. This shocked Detective Boney, but what baffled her even more was that after years of marriage, Nick didn't even know his wife's blood type. Because Amy had some degree of public recognition, the police organized a press conference. Nick and his in-laws appeared on camera, pleading for information about Amy's disappearance. Among Amy's admirers was an ex-boyfriend named Desi Collins, who had once attempted suicide after their breakup, as well as another ex, Tommy, who turned violent after she left him, so much so that Amy had filed charges against him in the past.